another video, everything travel nursing. As you can tell, this is choosing your assignment. I think this is the most straightforward part to travel nursing, is choosing where you want to go. So first thing that I think is very important for you as a traveler is to figure out, why are you traveling? Are you traveling because you have the wanderlust bug and you have a bucket list of places you want to go and see? Are you traveling for the experience of different facilities and improving your nursing practice through varied experience? Or are you traveling for financial gain? I mean, there's a myriad of reasons why you would be traveling. And for me, my first 3 years of travel were simply, I had bucket list items that I wanted to see the United States. I wanted to work in some of the top facilities in the United States, as well as just have that experience. And it was exciting, still exciting, but my why has changed over the past several years of travel nursing. I think if you understand why you are doing this, it'll give you a little bit more clarity and give you a little bit more of a compass for your direction for choosing your assignments. When you figure out the why, it's like, where now, right? Example for us, when we jumped into traveling, I was very naive, didn't understand the full extent of researching areas. I kind of briefly looked into our first location, which was Beckley, West Virginia, and thought it was a cute little coal mining town. Didn't quite have an understanding of reaching out to different nurses and the resources as a travel nurse that we'll discuss later that you have to kind of look into facilities. And so I was very naive, and it was quite the winter that we had. Almost quit travel nursing because of my experience, but I stuck it out, and by far one of the best decisions I ever made for both my career, but also self-development. So if you are just starting out as a travel nurse, maybe you're a solo traveler, maybe you're kind of nervous about moving all the way across country and you just kind of want to get your feet wet, choose something that fits your needs, maybe closer. Or if you are the adventurous soul and you're like, all right, I'm ready, let's go. Go wherever you want to go. And so the process of choosing where you want to go is also dictated by the availability of assignments, given the need in whatever location you're looking at. When I traveled to Tampa, we decided we wanted to be Southern Florida. We wanted to have that beach experience. So when I decided that was the direction we wanted to take, the available assignments, there were one just barely north of Tampa. It's still considered a part of it. It's called Carrollwood. That's where we ended up. So I was not in the heart of Tampa. The other example that I have is my husband was asked to teach a winter session at RISD. I knew we needed to be somewhere near Providence, Rhode Island. At the time, the availability in Providence, there wasn't anything. So I ended up in Worcester, Massachusetts, which was about a 40-minute drive into Providence, and we kind of made that work. So depending on whether you want to be close enough to, let's say, Denver to see the sights, or if you have a need professionally based on your personal needs, sometimes you can end up in a good radius to whatever location, like hotspot, you want to be. So if you're trying to travel more for the travel kind of touristy, I have a bucket list of prime cities I want to go to, there might be a little compromise that you have to have in order to end up near, if not within, that hotspot. And that's just the nature of the availability within that area, as well as the facility contract needs. It all kind of varies. Don't get discouraged if your hotspots aren't like right there right now available. We ended up in Richland, Washington right before we ended up in Seattle, and it was a little bit of a 3-month delay to the real location we wanted to be in, but both were still great experiences. Not having exactly what you want, typically there's usually a silver lining. And for Richland, I've met some amazing nurses from there that have become some of my closest friends, as well as we got to see a really different region of Washington that wasn't the picturesque Pacific Northwest. It was different, and it was kind of intriguing how how much those two regions contrasted when you were, you know, 3 hours outside of Seattle versus right in the hub of Seattle. It's very, very different territory, and it gives you a more intimate view of the United States. Understand that when you decide and determine where you want to go, you might have to compromise a little bit in that. This kind of goes hand in hand when you're looking at where you want to go and choosing your why you're traveling. But what is the lifestyle that you prefer, that you like? Are you more of a city person? Are you a nature buff? For people that don't really enjoy the city, I don't recommend like, oh, I'm gonna go to New York City and that's what my recruiter has recommended. No, if the location doesn't fit you, you don't have to take it. You can reach out to a different company to find a location. So that's the other thing, knowing that you have the flexibility. If one location isn't open because it's only working with a certain company or they don't have a contract with that hospital in the area, you can reach out to a different company and get where you want to go. The options are there. So don't be discouraged if right away that they're not just like, oh,
exactly where I want to go, perfect location.
There's a little wiggle room. You got to monitor and adjust and be flexible with travel nursing. That is going to be a new characteristic for you if you're deciding to travel nurse. You have to be a little flexible. A really wonderful part of travel nursing and choosing your location is essentially you're collecting these life experiences, and that's something that has been a pivotal part in my development as a person, the development of my relationship with my husband, and kind of solidifying that this is a beautiful life and we have to live it to its fullest. Now, choosing your location, you will also have those assignments that are you're like, what is going on in this place? Why is it? You're going to have those locations, and typically if a bill rate or if a contract rate is like crazy through the roof, you always have to remember there's a reason why you're there. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in traveler etiquette. You're a visitor and you're there to help. Sometimes the locations that you get really excited about might not be as grand as they initially appeared. Have some perspective that regardless of if this isn't the like highlight reel Instagram worthy experience, you're collecting life experiences and there's something from each assignment that you take with you. And that has been something that with that perspective, I just kind of want to pass on to other people with travel nursing. There's always something that in collecting those experiences that benefit you, that teach you something, that allow you to grow and make a real impact on your life, whether you realize right then or not. I look back on some of my assignments after time has passed, I'm like, wow. So perspective is everything. Now, if you're traveling for financial gain, you have to kind of have in the back of your head a little more flexibility and a little more understanding to, if you are taking high bill rates, high crisis pay contracts, there's a reason why you're there. And it's typically not one, the most comfortable, or two, the easiest. So keep that in the back of your mind. There's also the travel that keeps you close to family. I know a lot of travelers, especially, this was more prevalent in Florida, and I don't know exactly why. The network in Florida, it just had a different kind of health system and connection with travel nursing. And so my experience there, I found that I worked with several nurses that would basically moonlight or travel within their area. And that was their radius to stay close to family, to get their kids through high school, to pay for a little bit of college. And so if you're traveling for financial gain, either I want to make bank or I want to stay close to my family and fulfill a need, that option is there as well. Plenty of options when choosing your assignment and choosing your location. There's a lot of different variables.